in the great kingdom of Alanma, where masquerades danced in the market square, and the talking drum carried messages faster than horsemen. Princess Adana, first daughter of the Obi, was chosen for a marriage that would bind to Thorns. Her hand was promised to Prince Ekin of the neighboring kingdom of Niri-Du, but Nri-Du had two princes. The elder Obina was beloved by his people. He walked among the traders in the market, lifted baskets for the women, and laughed with the children as if they were his own brothers. Songs were sung of his charm, and maidens blushed when he passed. Ekian, the younger, was different. His face was fine, his bearing proud, but his heart was like dry harmattan, wind-cold, arrogant, dismissive. To him, the common people were dust beneath his sandals. Many wondered why Adana's fate was tied to his, when the elder brother seemed carved by the gods themselves. Adana resisted. Her heart had long leaned toward another, a young hunter from her father's lands who had whispered to her of love beneath the moonlight. She told her nanny, Mama Ifama, that she would never marry for politics. So one night, they plotted an escape. Adana disguised herself, leaving the palace to seek the man who had promised her forever. But fate is sharp. When she found him, he was not alone. His arms were wrapped around another girl, his lips speaking the same sweet words that once belonged to her. Her chest broke like calabash dashed on stone. She turned away, tears blinding her, her heart heavy as iron. Back in Olanma, Adana wept for days. Then, with a strength born from sorrow, she decided, if she must marry Ekin, she would know him with her own eyes. She would not enter his household as a stranger. With only Mama Ifama aware, she journeyed to Nriadu, stripped of royal beads and coral, dressed as a simple maiden. At the palace, she begged for work and was taken in as a servant. She swept courtyards, fetched palm wine, carried firewood, all while watching E. She saw his arrogance in full color. He barked at his attendants, mocked the weak, and carried himself like a man carved for a throne but unworthy of it. Yet Adana could not keep silent. One afternoon, when he shamed an old servant, she stepped forward boldly. Power without kindness is emptiness. My prince, she said, her voice steady. A king who scorns his people is a tree without roots. The courtyard froze, Ekin's eyes blazed. From that moment, he hated her. He ordered her to scrub until her hands cracked, made her carry loads heavier than her frame. But Adana did not bow. She stood like a roko in the storm. Again and again, she challenged him, and again, they clashed, their words like sparks from flint and stone. One night Ekin summoned her to his chamber. She went wary but unbroken. Something stirred in him he could not explain, an anger twisted with longing. For a moment, he nearly overstepped, almost breaking her trust forever. But the ghost of an old wound pulled him back years ago. He had killed a close friend for attempting to defile a palace maid. That blood was still heavy on his soul. He recoiled, shaken by his own near crime. Later, Obina, the elder brother, found Adana by the well and told her of that dark story. So she might know Akin's heart carried torment, not only pride. Akin himself came to her, humbled, and asked her forgiveness. In the quiet days that followed, something shifted. Akin began to notice her courage, the fire in her eyes, the way her words pierced deeper than spears. He found himself waiting for her presence, listening to her voice in his memory. The palace began to whisper. The cold prince had changed, and all because of a maid. Jealous tongues sharpened. Some servants, envious of the favor she seemed to gain, plotted against her. One evening, when Obina passed by, they sat near the gates and spread filthy lies, boasting that they had all tasted the maid. Obina's ears burned with fury. He told Ekin who, though torn, believed the rumors. Adana, crushed by his doubt, left the palace quietly, returning to Ola. She told herself that if he truly wanted her, he would find her again. But guilt weighs heavy. One maid, unable to bear the deceit, confessed that envy had driven them to invent the lies. Ekin, hearing this, was broken. For the first time, he longed not for power, but for the forgiveness of one woman. On the day the marriage was to be sealed, Ekin went before Obina. His pride was gone, his face wet with tears he had never let fall. Brother, he said, take my place. I cannot marry another. My heart belongs to the maid I wronged. Obina tried to refuse, but Akin begged until his voice cracked. At last, Obina agreed. When the delegation from Olanma arrived, the palace drums beat for the union. But when Adana stepped forward in her coral beads and eagle feather crown, the truth struck like thunder. The maid who had defied Ekin, the servant who challenged his heart, the woman who had softened his pride, it was she-princess Adana of Olanma. Gasps filled the air. Ekin's knees buckled, tears streaming as he understood the truth. Adana looked at him, a smile trembling on her lips. And in that moment, both knew the gods had written their story long before. That day, beneath the gaze of the ancestors and the blessings of the elders, their union was sealed with kola nut, palm wine, and the rhythm of the talking drum. The people sang a new tale of Princess Adana, who tested the heart of a cold prince, and Prince Ekin, who learned love through the fire of her courage.